Everybody debating whether or not I should come on live, but then I started seeing stuff that the so-called whatever he is was gonna shut down social media, so I guess I gotta get on here before that happens, because again, it comes down to control. Everybody's trying to gain control. Well, if you were a leader to begin with, wouldn't have this problem, but you know, I gotta take in the sun. I sat here for a few minutes listening to the birds. Got my sage. I think the world needs a sage. You know, I'm torn. There's a lot of things that are bothering me inside. A lot. And I really don't know how to put it into words. A lot of times when I don't know how to put things into words, like when I was younger, I just fly off the handle, you know what I mean? It was easier for me to fight than it was for me to use my brain, you know? But I've been talking to a lot of people. I've been talking to my natives. I've been talking to my Afro-Americans. I've been talking to my Caucasians, my Puerto Ricans, Hispanics, Italians, you know what I mean? Trying to get their point of view, get their side, because there's more than one side going on right now. There's a lot of things going on. A lot. Some questions I ask is, do people understand what it is they're really fighting for? Do they truly understand it? Do they truly understand the situation at hand? You know, everyone has a right to their opinion, and everyone has the right for freedom of speech. You know, I don't agree with burning down things, even though I'm burning sage, because I look at it this way. I was listening to a speech from, I think it was Killer Mike in Atlanta, Georgia, you know, and he spoke from the heart. But he was absolutely right. And, you know, that's a community that has fought so hard to rebuild their community that why would you just go and start burning down the community? Like, why? Do you understand why you would do that? Or is it just, I'm going to do it because I'm making a statement and I'm making a point? What point did it make? You know? And now you see everywhere else is doing the same thing, right? I also look at it and say, you know, they want people to listen. And if this is what it's going to take for people to listen, then that's what it takes. Because I also look at it and say, when we were in peaceful protest for Standing Rock, peaceful protest, they still came at the Native Americans and everyone that was supporting the Standing Rock. They came at them with the pellet guns and the tear gas and, you know, beating them down, and they weren't even, they were standing there peacefully, doing nothing. And yet, their voices weren't heard. So if you stand there peacefully and your voices aren't heard, what else can you do? Right? People want to be heard. They want justice. They want to be heard. They are not going to listen to anything anybody else has to say until they feel heard. My question is, what is it going to take for you to feel heard? Because I look at it this way, right? Let's say you get stabbed with a knife, right? And it gets stabbed deep, right? You're cut. So you're hurt, you're in pain, right? Well, you gotta pour some peroxide on that or clean it out, right? Before it can heal. We cannot push healing on people if they haven't gutted it out yet. So if it has to burn to the ground, it has to burn to the ground. It just means the foundation wasn't strong enough. There were so many cracks in that foundation. So many cracks. You know, and all those cracks now, it's all coming to light. It's all coming to light. How do we stop it? How do we stop it from happening again? How? I sit there and think about that all the time. How? I can't rationalize with someone who's completely angry all the time. They have every right to be angry. I also am torn because I have family members who are, they're Afro-American and they're cops. They're Native Americans and they're cops. They're Caucasians and they're cops. Puerto Ricans and they're cops. You know, they must be torn as well. Because we have a lot of bad apples. And when you have one bad apple, it spoils the whole bunch. But it doesn't just go for cops. It goes for any bag. Any bag of fruit can go bad from that one bag of fruit. So I'm kind of torn here. I'm torn because, you know, people are burning down local small businesses who, you know, they've been trying to stay afloat through this whole coronavirus. They also just lost their livelihood. So what is the root of the issue, of the problem? What is the root? You know, when I talk to my Native American friends, they're just like, man, like, this is stolen land. The natives were here in peace. They welcomed the pilgrims here with peace. And then they massacred them. I was talking to my husband last night. Let's talk about the definition of massacre. To massacre, wipe out an entire race. That is what my people are dealing with and have always dealt with. They're on the bottom of the totem pole. Always have been. And then we look up the definition of war, civil war, World War. I was like, whoa. You know, just the definitions alone have a lot of statement into them. And they, you know, however, there are things we have to accept that we can't change. We cannot change the past. The past has happened. We can use it to reflect and help us project what we see might be coming in the future, but we have a position right here and right now to make a change. Because apparently throughout history, shit just keeps coming back, keeps going back in that same cycle. We want to get out of that cycle. So, on the other hand, I'm happy that they're burning shit down. You know? It's telling people, I'm not taking your shit no more. I'm not fucking taking it. It's just something very, very hard to deal with. And then you've got the people that are like, I don't want to get involved. I'm not going to get involved. This too shall pass. But it affects everybody. That's the problem. It affects every single one of us. I keep lighting this, right? Because it keeps going out. So I keep lighting it. You know? It's hard to listen to the energy right now as to what direction to go in. Because there are a lot of emotions. And I'm trying to make sure that when I'm speaking, I'm not letting my emotions lead me right now. You know? Because if I lead by my emotions, I might do something I shouldn't. Or that I will regret later on. again, I'm torn because there always comes a time in your life where you need to stand up and defend. And you shouldn't have any fault for that. And you don't feel bad for that. If you know in your heart of hearts to defend your family and protect them is right, then that's what you do. And you do it to the best of your knowledge. So I'm torn. I am completely torn. Completely torn. Now I know that there's protests going on up in the city right now, and I haven't been online to really look and see if anything's changed, but it was peaceful. You got your mask on?
I'm trying to get some bombs.
Want to grab me some cigarettes? Iced tea? That big bottle? What do you mean? That big bottle I already drank. I put it in the recyclables in the house.
There's no recyclable.
In the brown bag.
It's not a recyclable.
That's my recyclables while it's in the house. Do I put all my energy into trying to solve this issue? Because I can't solve it alone. I definitely can't solve it alone. It's too big. It's too big of a problem. It's a problem that's been there for a long time. Do I continue doing just my normal day-to-day stuff? Like, what do I do? Like, what? Tell me. You tell me what we need to do. I can give you ideas. I can tell you what's on my mind. Right? But it's going to have to be a collaboration of efforts, not just one person coming up with an idea. There needs to be some brainstorming going on. The problem is when we're brainstorming with so many people, everyone's throwing in their emotions and throwing in their opinions, which we want to hear your opinions so that way we can figure out, okay, we can maybe go this way or maybe go that way, but we have to come to some type of plan to move forward. Like I said, Killer Mike had a great point. Plan, prepare, strategize, organize, but what are you planning? What are you strategizing? What are you organizing? Those are the things that we need to figure out. We need to build a firm foundation. A firm foundation that you can grow from, right? I always say go back to your roots. Why? Because your roots are in the ground. They're strong, they're firm. Always go back to your roots. Not everybody is going to agree with that, but you always go back to your roots. Your roots are inside of you. Talk about my trapped ruby, right? The ruby that you see in that center stone, that center rock, right? That is the stone of divine creativity within you. Within you. Everything you do from that stone comes out from you. Just like a tree. Rooted. Everything. So you make sure that when you speak or you branch off from that middle ground, that it's firm and it's strong. What'd you forget? Oh. I was talking to some other family members because I was talking about my business. And I was thinking if my business wasn't online and I had a location here, what would happen if that got burned down? That would be like my life. You know what I mean? Like, then I started thinking, do I reach out to other local businesses and support with them, just so that we can let others know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you do what you got to do, but man, that's my life, and I did that so that I could bring prosperity to our community. Some people will hear it, some people won't. Again, people are they're like this. La 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 la. Jeffrey, I'm not listening. From Beverly Hills Cop. They're not listening. Some are, some aren't. The other thing that's happening is a lot of people are now they're being shown the truth. So it's more like a shocker. It's, to see the truth, to open up and to wake up. You have all different levels here. So it's almost like you got to hit every single level, because at one point or another on that level, you're going to need collaboration with them to work with you. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to find balance. Again, the stone in the middle. We have to find balance on this side, and we have to find balance on that side. But the stone or the stump in the middle, that is where we find balance. The balance comes within you, the individual. And there's a lot of people out there right now that have no balance, and they're not grounded. They are pissed off. And I agree with them. I'm pissed off too. I really am. And I'm pretty sure if I was in that particular area, the energy and the vibe that I feel would get inside of me so bad that I would be just as bad as them. And now I seen Trey the Truth. He went down to the spot where Floyd was murdered. Man, just seeing him there at that spot resonated, and I was like, ugh, like I was trying to hold it in, but I can't even imagine what he felt being there. I cannot even imagine what he felt. Just like I can't even, fathom the video. It's just fucking pisses me off. I got kids. I'm in a blended family, and I'm trying to teach my kids right from wrong. I started crying, I think it was yesterday. My daughter had said something on Instagram, and it was long, and then she had 9 pages, 9 pictures to go with it. And I stopped for a second, and I was like, oh my God, I raised my children to not be racist. Like, that to me was just like, I felt like I did my job. I felt like I did my job as a parent. She talked about her brother being Native and how he would be searched all the time and they wouldn't look at her, or how her girlfriend, who's Afro-American, used to get picked on because her hair wasn't right, even though she spent hours trying to get it right. And it's just, to hear it from my daughter saying, Mom, I learned about racism at a young age. I could see it. Kids see it, man. Kids see it. But when I saw her standing behind what she believed and speaking so articulate, I can't even talk, articulating it very well, and saying, my mom has always raised me and taught me to see people through their character, not through their skin color. I was like, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. My nephews are Afro-American and white. My nieces are. And the problem is, even when I was raised, even if you are half white and half black, the black community accepted you, but the white community didn't. And that's the truth. And because they had a tint of color to them, they were still mocked. So yeah, it frustrates me. It frustrates me. You want to send your kids out into this world and hope that they come home safe. And then what really, really was getting to me was when they were posting the videos of Floyd and how he was trying to preach good out there, man, and teach the young kids. And it's just like, I talk to God and I'm like, what is it? What is it? Did you need to use him as an example? Did you really have to? This shit don't need to happen to good people, man. There are psychos out there, and you guys need to be going after these goddamn psychos and killing them, but good fucking people, man? Like, come on. I don't know, it just really pisses me off, and it really upsets me. It really upsets me. But if I can feel it here, imagine how the people feel that it happened to, the family that it happened to. It's just wrong on every level. Wrong. Wrong. Shit needs to fucking change, man. Shit needs to change. Shit needs to fucking change. Everyone's all worried about money and power, all this superficial shit. It's got to fucking go. Don't you see? The world is cleansing itself. It's fucking cleansing itself. It's cleansing itself, literally. From the whole fucking coronavirus shit, which you don't even know if the government was using that as a ploy or if it was just, saying, okay, that pandemic is out there, but let me take advantage of the situation. Yeah, let's really think about that. But in Italy, you can now see the canal. So what does that tell you? After 3 decades, right? Then you start seeing in other places all the animals coming out because the people aren't there. And then the weather is changing. And now we're going around burning places up in each city, in each state. It's cleansing itself. It has to tear down. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. Because our job is to rebuild it. Our job is to heal those out there and rebuild it. But when we rebuild it, we have to rebuild it with a strong foundation. Period. 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 There are times when I can feel energy and I can feel vibes, and it takes a lot out of me. It really, really does. And I've been talking to other people who are spiritual. It just, I don't know what it is. It just takes a lot out of you. And then all I can do is I wait. I wait for my angels to tell me what to do. I wait for them to tell me, Sheri, this is what you gotta do. And when they tell me, that's when I act. Man. And then I think about while the whole United States is crumbling down, what are the terrorists doing? Are they laughing? Or are they plotting and planning too? If we really look at the bigger picture, the world is a very large place. The United States is only a piece of it. Yeah, so always got to be 5 steps ahead. So while this looting and shit's going on, I also have to look at it and say, is that a distraction for other shit that's going on? Is that a ploy? Is that a tactic? You know? Gotta stay ahead of the game. Then sometimes do you move in silence? Or do you move with words? I like to move with music. Music heals me a lot. Even if it's angry music. When I'm listening to angry music, it's at least getting out my frustration and getting out my anger. It's kind of like exercise. Eventually, once you stop exercising or listening to the angry music, then you can calm down, you can relax, regroup, and then you can, start healing and listening to calmer music. Music kind of goes with the motion of the ocean, which is why they say the motion of the ocean is kind of like your emotions, But when there's a storm in the ocean, you can't really control it. And then the other day I was like, everything that's going on, like let's say you're in the ocean, right? And have you ever been stuck in like a whirlpool? Like even the little ones, right? My cousin got stuck in one. I saved her. Bet you didn't know that. So if you're in like a whirlpool, you have to go out and over to get out of it. Thanks. Gloves to the store? Yeah, when we were little, we were at one of the beaches and there was a heavy undertow. And we're all, getting on the waves, riding the waves. I look back and she was stuck in a whirlpool and she couldn't get out. So I swam it over to her, had her hold on to me. A couple times she tried pulling me under and pulling me under and pulling me under. I got myself up because I was able to get her to hold on to the side of me. She was freaking out because she was going to drown, but she was freaking the fuck out. And when they do that, they pull you under, and then you drown too because you're trying to save yourself. But however I maneuvered it, but I was able to get her to the side, and her and I swam out, and then we swam over, and then by the time we swam over, the lifeguards were able to come and bring us in. But I'll never forget that day. I don't know, was I like 11 or 12 years old? But anyways, I don't know. I guess I needed to get a little bit of a cry out and just tell you guys that, I'm torn and there's a lot of shit I don't understand, and, how can I help people rebuild or help people heal if they're not even willing to listen right now? A lot of times when someone's that angry, you just gotta let them let it out on their own. Now, I'm saying, if they come to your place, you have every right to be like, yo, you can do that shit, but you ain't doing it here, But, you still got a right to do it, You got a right to speak your mind, let it out. So, I don't know. I'm just going to continue to listen to music. I'm going to try to create some stuff, sage, and I guess see what happens within the next 24 hours, That's all we can do right now. But I wanted to say something before the so-called, I don't even like to even say his name because I don't even like to bring energy to him, but if he shuts down the internet, I at least wanted to say something. So I hope you all can try to have a good night, and like they say, I'll see you in the morning.